Hi everyone, it's 2 o'clock, time to start. I'm Venkatesh from GrowCurve. Over the past few weeks, we've been asking a lot of our platform partners to come and talk about various elements of marketing. Today, I have great pleasure in introducing Priyank, who comes from Dialogbox, talking about how video can improve business, how video can accelerate sales and revenue growth for you. Priyank, pleasure to have you with us. Over to you, have fun.
Thank you, Venkatesh, and thank you, GrowCurve, for giving me this opportunity to present high performance video strategy, a webinar on it. And thanks everyone for joining it at this hour. Uh, so today I'm going to cover not the entire video strategy, but what makes for a good video strategy if you're looking to have one for your product or your service. And we'll talk about various components of it. So things you should consider when you are formulating a video strategy for your product or your service. A little bit about me. I am founder of Studio Dialogbox. Studio Dialogbox was founded in 2018 with the focus of giving and producing high performance videos for our clients. We have all sorts of clients, right from financial clients in financial sector. So like for example, HDFC, ICICI, to e-commerce clients, and we work with tech clients, we work with pharma clients, and because I've been in this field for the last 5.5 years, I've literally seen the rise of video marketing and how videos are becoming more and more essential for your sales and marketing strategy. Uh, in today's webinar, that's exactly what we are going to cover. That how do you create not just good looking or low cost videos, but high performance videos that actually bring results for your sales and marketing strategy. I also happen to talk about it on a YouTube channel, and you can also check that out. Uh, Moving on, where you want to communicate everything, right from your heritage to your people to your products, why your benefits, your features, everything in a single video, which is what I call the super video syndrome. The second is where you have a larger team, about at least about 30 to 50 people within an organization or more than that, and which is where every team, maybe a sales team, maybe the marketing team or the HR team, even under marketing you have the channel marketing teams and the digital marketing teams. Everybody drives their own agenda for their video calendar, and that's what makes for a lot of random videos without any real plan. And this makes for a how do we put it, this makes for a lot of wastage of video assets. And this is again something that I've seen very widely in a lot of bigger companies, the spray and pray video approach. The third approach, which is the funnel strategy, which is what we are primarily going to be talking about in this webinar. This is this realization of using videos on top of your sales funnel. It's not new, but this is now slowly coming into becoming part of the marketing approach, part of your marketing strategy. And this is what will make it the most effective, and this is what will deliver maximum punch when you are creating a video strategy. Okay, one of the myths that I want to address right away is that, and this is post a book which has come out, which is Fast, Cheap, and Viral. This expectation of having videos produced fast, which is in a less than a week's timeline, or cheap, which I think cheap is anything less than 50,000, and viral, which is what I mean. You put a video asset out and then you expect it to be shared widely. This expectation from a video asset is an unfair expectation, which is what I want to set right away. Instead, what you should be expecting your video asset to be is a high performing asset, and this is what makes it a performing asset. Number one, it should be engaging, which means whatever is the length of your video, the viewer should get excited in the first 5 seconds to continue watching it, and then should continue watching it till the very end, which is when your call to action is going to come. Number two, it's aligned to the funnel, so that the video is created specifically for its objective in the entire funnel strategy. We'll talk more about this. Third, it front loads the core message. Drop-offs are a reality. You cannot expect every single viewer to continue for the entire extent of the video. So you should be front loading it. It should deliver relevant value. It need not be surprising, or it not be refreshing, or it not be highly original every single time, but it should deliver relevant value, and it should be compliant with all your regulatory compliances, right? Good to have is it should have the right production value. So it should, if it's a brand video, if it's a promotional video, it should look its part. If it's a talking head video, it should look its part. It should be aligned to your brand values, and your brand manual if you have one. And it should be optimized for the medium. So medium being, if it's going to be put up on Instagram as story, versus it's going to be put up or on YouTube as a long form content where you're going to educate people. It has to be optimized for the medium, right from the aspect ratio, which is, it's good whether it's going to be a vertical video or it's going to be a horizontal video. All of these considerations have to be taken. Okay, so this is my next question to you. How long is your typical sales cycle? If you can, just quickly answer me. For me, for example, it is anywhere between 1 month to 3 months. How much is it for you? 6 months to 3 years. So yeah, this is B2B product for sure. 10 days, right? So probably we'll be looking at e-commerce products. What else? 3 to 10 days, 2 months to 3 months. B2C about 7 days, B2B about 2 weeks. So we have somebody who sells to both kind of categories. Great. So what the sense that it gives me is that some of you are selling B2B products, high value B2B products, which takes a longer time and has a more complicated sales process with a larger number of steps. And some of you are in B2C, which is a smaller sales process and a quicker sales process. I would not say smaller, but a quicker sales process. Uh, However, uh, you know, for 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 generalization purposes, because we have a wide variety of people here, I would break down the sales process into 3 stages. It's it's a typical funnel. I think all of us are already aware about it, and this funnel visualization will also help us lay the groundwork for the video strategy, because video strategy is essentially part of your marketing and sales strategy. And it uh, the framework for video strategy sits on top of the marketing strategy. So let's look at a typical funnel. Top of the funnel, which is where you want to increase awareness about your brand or the product. You want to reach out to as many people as possible, as many new people actually as possible, and which is where you do a lot of promotions or posting on social media. And a lot of us also do cold calling, reaching out to customers via phone or via email or via cold email. The next stage, when they are already aware uh, of of your product or your service, you want to tell them more about yourselves, which is, if you are a B2B product, then you want to talk about how your features and your service, uh, about your about the successful projects that you have done, so on and so forth. And if you are a B2C product, then you want to talk about your features and why you're better than the other competitors. In the last stage, whether you are B2B or B2C, you want to build trust. You want to connect with them at a human level. And this is a typical sales process. Uh, One other bit, because we are going to be talking about videos, and if you're talking about videos, we also have to talk about uh, the publishing mediums. So typically, and I know that in some cases it will be different, but typically, uh, The awareness stage happens via cold calling, via emailers, and mostly on social media. The consideration is when they jump the from whatever your social media pages are to your landing page, or they start getting nurturing mailers from you, or they attend webinars done by you. So basically, you are getting more now. You get more of their time, and you can hold their attention for a longer period. And in the last stage is when you are directly either talking to them if you're a B2B, if you're in a B2B sales process, or you are taking them to the website, the e-commerce website if you are selling digitally. In either cases, what happens is at the top of the funnel you have less, you get very little time to talk to them, so that's why those videos are shorter. And as you go deeper into the sales funnel, you you get permission in a way for getting more of their attention, so you can hold their attention longer because you have already been through the first process. So far so good. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm doing is in this particular slide is I'm uh, now that the groundwork, the base work of the funnel is set, I'm introducing the video types that are useful in each stage of the funnel. And if there's one takeaway from this entire webinar, it is, sorry, it is this uh, slider. So essentially, the idea of this slide is to tell you that every stage requires a different video type. And then now let's look at these video types. So in the first stage, you are going to do a lot of ads, you're going to do a lot of promos, and you are going to educate uh, your people. Now what is that education on? We'll cover that. And you are also, if you typically, if you're a lifestyle brand, you are also going to be creating a lot of topical videos. For example, the current scenario, which is of COVID. So if you're a lifestyle brand, you will want to do something on COVID, trying to connect with your audience at a human level, trying to entertain them or engage with them. When you are in the consideration stage, you want to tell more, so you explain, you have a lot of explainer videos here, you have case studies, you have demos. And in the last stage, which is where you want to create a human connection, you want to show them who your people are through company stories, and you want to show them some successful customer stories through testimonials. uh, Now what we are going to do is we are going to get into each of these video types and how can you use within your own video strategy. So the uh, first kind of video types that we are going to cover is top of the funnel. Typically, top of the funnel is also the most important or the highest priority videos. A lot of brands spend most of their time and energy here. Now let's see, what does it mean? What are the kind of videos that we can look at in top of the funnel? So top of the funnel videos are short videos, essentially not more than 15 to 30 second. Uh, if you are on Facebook, if you're on Insta, you can probably use even lesser than that. YouTube has a bumper which is less than, which is about 6 seconds. So you're looking at short duration, high impact videos. uh, you are not going to tell everything about your product. What you're trying to do here is to create curiosity about your product or service or a current offer that is going on. uh, the idea here is not to explain everything. The idea here is to clearly make them curious. Typically these videos have higher production value because uh, this is the first time you're going to get in front of your customer, and as they say, first impression is the last impression. So you want to have something which is of high production value, and it should be optimized for the medium. So because we are looking at social media primarily here, so it needs to be optimized for the medium. So it can be the 16:9, which is your landscape, or 9:16, which is your portrait sort of video. Apart from that, there's 1:1 and 4:5 formats, and I'll quickly take you through all of these formats. Because we do not have a lot of time, I'm going to quickly go through these dimensions, these aspect ratios. So for Facebook, what usually works is 16:9 to 9:16. If you're running carousel ads, then you should also be looking at 1:1 aspect ratio. Facebook carousel ads are great. They have best of both the worlds, especially if you have multiple product lines or you have multiple features that you want to put in front. Facebook carousel ads are great. Facebook stories, which is up to 15 seconds. Now here it ideally what it supports is 9:16, because then it covers the entire video screen. If it's 16:9, then it won't cover the entire video screen. uh, and then you have video YouTube ads. What I would suggest is that you check out the different aspect ratios and all the different video formats that are available across multiple social mediums. The objective of taking you through these slides is just giving you a sense that if you are thinking of developing video ads, then there are multiple things that you need to consider, right from what is your dominant publishing medium to what your aspect ratio is going to be, and accordingly the duration of the video, right? uh, so your this is what your promos and uh, ad videos are. These are videos which probably you're going to put your money on, and you're going to widely publicize it. The next set of videos that's really helpful, especially in B2B or B2B scenarios, or with products which need some kind of customer education. These are educational videos that focus on your customers pain point. So if you are familiar already with content marketing and how do you strategize blog posts, you are already aware about a lot of uh, you know to do's while you are creating educational videos. For example, it should focus on your customer pain points. The video title, the description, and the thumbnail should all focus on your customer pain points, because that is what is going to make it more discoverable. That is what is going to drive SEO. uh, if you already have a popular blog post, if your website or it happens to have a blog post which gets visitor, you can convert some of these blog posts, you can repurpose them into infographic videos or into some kind of whiteboard videos. uh, what I suggest, if you're looking to create educational videos, is that you have a playlist based approach, which is you're not looking at a single standalone educational video or one big educational video. You're looking at a series, trying to look at a customer pain point from multiple perspectives, because that is what will make your content more discoverable. And then uploading this playlist on not only on YouTube, but on multiple social mediums, even including on your website. I'll just show you a couple of video formats that work really well when you're trying to create educational videos. uh, let me just see if this works. So this is a educational video we created for an e-commerce company.
I'm Rachel from The Cradle Coach, and I'm here today
for an e-commerce company called Nested Bean.
Nested Bean to talk to you about why your child could be waking early. So here are my top 5 reasons.
I think it's taking some time to load.
Hi, I'm Rachel from The Cradle Coach, and I'm here today for Nested Bean to talk to you about why your child could be waking early. So here are my top 5 reasons why your baby or toddler could be waking up too early in the morning. The first reason is their room environment.
Right, so I'll just stop it here. Again, in the interest of the time, what you're trying to do with educational videos is you're not doing any kind of selling here. You're simply looking at their customer pain points. So Nested Bean is a sleepwear brand for babies. So they are not talking about any of their products here. They're simply talking about things that you should consider when your baby sleeps. That's about it. Because uh, a baby sleep is a big pain point for any new parent. And similarly, for your brand, you can look at what are the typical customer pain points. For example, when you are having uh, a meeting with your client or prospective client for the first time, they'll have a lot of questions about your services, or how do we go about evaluating different products. That is where you can uh, you can plug in such kind of content to help your customers. Here you can, so this what we saw right now, that is called a talking head video, which is when you have a live person uh, uh, talking directly to you. But you can look at multiple other formats. For example, whiteboard videos, if you have seen, they work really well in this stage. Whiteboard videos are your typical videos which have let me just show it to you.
Cycle starts on the first day of your.
So I'm sure you must have seen such videos, and they are also great for creating educational video content. And then you have motion graphic videos, and so we'll talk about more of that in the next. Is topical videos. So everybody who who's into selling B2C products, so people say that they have sales cycle which is less than 10 days, right? Now anybody who's in that kind of selling, which, where you want to connect with your customer at a human level, at a cultural level, topical videos work really well. So the idea here is to create share worthy content that drives conversation. So if you're uh, it's, for example, in the current scenario, you want to talk about COVID and the issues arising with COVID, and you want to tell people, you want to empathize with people. uh, that kind of content works really well in this, for this particular type of video. For this, you should ideally be looking at the trending topics, what's trending on social media. You should be aware about what are the topics that are being talked about on different social mediums. And most importantly, what's important here is a fast turnaround time. Because if you are even late by 2-3 days, you might miss the bus. Uh, we just had a scenario like that again with Nested Bean. Because they are a US based brand, they wanted to release a video on the because they have this thing going on, which is Black Lives Matter. And a lot of communication is around racism right now. They also wanted to do their bit and wanted to release a video on stay awake. That was the theme. But we got late by 4 days, and we decided that let's not do it. So if you're thinking of creating topical videos, you have to be very, very proactive. You have to have a very fast turnaround time and not really worry about production value. Right. So what we just talked about, these are all top of the funnel videos that you need to get discovered, videos which will act as, you know, which will put you in front of strangers. They typically need to be high on production value, unless of course it's a topical video, and needs to leave uh, some kind of value to the, it needs to give some kind of value to the viewer, so they remember you and they come back to you. Probably they'll watch 2-3 of your educational videos, and then they'll come back to check out your website. The next kind of video types, which is when you have already uh, created some kind of connect with the customer, are called, uh, these are the middle of the funnel videos, which is when you want to talk about your features. This is when you want to talk about your benefits and how you're better than your competitors. So explainers work really well, case studies and product demos, and we'll talk about these one by one. So what are explainers? Now, anybody in B2B uh, uh, sector, or even B2C, but with slightly complicated products, would know that you can't simply flash your product and you can hope for the customer to buy it. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about its features, the problem it solves, how is it better than your competitors, and how can they go about buying it. So these explainers are typically 2 minutes or 90-second videos. After working on a lot of explainers, what we have realized is that the sweet spot is about 90 seconds. You want to show your competitive advantage, and the good thing about explainer is that while it's a middle of the funnel content, you can actually use it in multiple scenarios. When your salesperson is knocking on the door, or when you are trying to activate a cold lead, or you want to you want to put a you want to have a great landing page. In all of these scenarios, uh, explainer works really well, and that's why it's very important to have uh, an explainer with good production value and a good script. I'll just take you through a couple of them, just a brief look at what these explainers look like. So this is an explainer video that we created for Altria, which sells contract management systems to legal professionals. Again, their sales process takes about 3 to 6 months. So it's a pretty longish sales cycle. And they use such video pieces and similar such video pieces across the entire sales cycle. So this is so they use this flagship video, but apart from that, they have several other explainers for different use cases. So you may have one explainer to talk about a generic product scenario, but if you have multiple use applicable for different stakeholders, then you can consider looking at multiple explainers. So what we just saw, this format is called motion graphic format, where you use graphics, illustrations, text, and you display it on screen, even characters largely, but you don't use characters that much because that increases the complexity of video production. But you use all of these to simplify. That is the idea, that you simplify the scenario and you tell a story about it. So balancing storytelling with explanation is what you're trying to do with explainer videos. The next are, of course, demos. Now, demos are a staple for anybody who's into selling apps or SaaS products, or financial products, or any kind of tech product, because that involves navigation. So I'm sure within your sales process, you have a dedicated slot for demos. Now, I have also been through a lot of such demos while trying to buy, a remote working software, or trying to buy a CRM. I've seen how boring they can become. And you must be, if you have been through, or if you are giving such demos, you must have seen that after a point it gets repetitive, it gets boring, and there's hardly much that the viewer retains. And that's also because, they have, nobody wants to hear feature after feature. So with demos, what you're typically trying to do is you want to address some of the top things, that how my interface is going to look like, what is the experience like, uh, uh, how simple and easy to use it is, if that's what you want to communicate, and you want to give them a brief flavor of what your product looks like. Again, when you're getting such demos created, and if you have such if you have interface based products, or if you have digital products, then you can typically look at two different ways of getting these demos created. One is, of course, using animation, popular motion graphics technique. Another is using the screen grabs from your product itself. So what you do is you record the screens while somebody is navigating the product, and then you edit it.
So what's it that a customer really looks? or directly
So you can
system-based
use
process.
screen grabs, screenshots, and you can convert it into a nice looking video which shows the entire navigation, and it looks great. At the same time, it's great for communicating and instructing on how to use it. Right. Uh, One last thing is that you can also use demos for onboarding new customers, or if you're launching a new product, then in that case, if you want to train your sales guys, or if you want to train your customers, it's a great video asset, and also works really well as middle of the funnel content. Third, and this is a new insert, webinars. Webinars, as you know, is a great middle of the funnel content. It provides, it shows that you are an expert in your niche, and the idea is to provide insights to your audiences. It's to establish a direct rapport with your audience. Finally, case studies. Now, case studies are my favorite video type, and the reason being that case studies show the real value to your customer. If I see a case study from a from a brand, then I know that it works, and I know that they have created that rapport with their clients, so they are now coming on the screen and they are championing their product. The idea of case study is to highlight results. Now, some of you would be early stage entrepreneurs, or your product is just ready. In this case, it's difficult to have a case study, but if you have successful demos where your product has been used by the client for a month or 2 months, you can definitely convert that into a case study. The idea here is to demonstrate value of the product with real data and proven results. So something like this takes a little time, takes a little more understanding to create. And whenever we have made case studies, they usually take about at least a month, because it's technical in nature, as well as it has to do the essential aspect of storytelling, but really, really powerful. Finally, it, once you have established the fact that you are the right fit for your customer, that now is the time to establish that human connect with them. So how do you do that? You do that by showing people, right? And that is why two formats, testimonials and company stories, they work really well. Testimonials primarily because all of us are looking for social proof when we are buying. If somebody else is buying, if somebody else is saying that this is a good product, you tend to believe that person more. It makes your business look trustworthy, and it also strengthens your portfolio. uh, Company stories is when you reveal your team to the customer. So for example, you are a financial, you sell financial products. How about uh, showing, how about your product manager talking about the culture about your company? you know uh, Earlier, people used to think that these videos are primarily used for HR purposes, to in train prospective employees or to attract prospective employees. But what they are realizing now is that for customers today, it's important for them to relate with the people who they are buying from. So people are buying from people. So it's very important to give a real face to the products, to your company, to the brand. And it's also an opportunity to connect with them emotionally. That's why I feel that company stories are like really must to have video asset, in especially in the when you are trying to close a particular sale. uh, so all of us talked about videos and why we need video. I think we need videos because it essentially means higher engagement, and engagement only comes from the amount of time you spend in production. Now, production doesn't mean amount of time you spend in shooting something or creating something. It means the amount of effort and how deliberate you are with the script. What is it that you want to say? Because unless you are very clear, you are deliberate with your script, with what you're going to say, it's not going to be engaging unless there is something of value, unless there is something refreshing in that script, in that video. People are not going to be engaged. So it's very important to look at the engagement perspective of your video asset. uh, Venkatesh, hello, hello.
Yeah, Priyanka, I'm with you.
Venkatesh, how much more time do we have?
Uh, Take a couple more minutes and then we can get into some questions and discussion.
Questions, right? Okay. I thought I'll just quickly take them through the formats, but then I'll leave that. However, I'll just
Priyanka, I would suggest do take a few more minutes if you're getting into formats. That's an interesting part of your presentation.
right. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
ठीक है, thank you.
Right. So what we looked at are video types, and I'll quickly take you through different video formats that you can explore for your video types. So like we explained, top of the funnel content like ads and explainers, you should really explore character animation. Again, there are different kinds of character animation. So if you're looking for a generic sort of character animation, it will be slightly lesser on the effort and cost. If you're looking for very smooth looking dynamic animation, it will be slightly higher on effort and cost. So you should be again deliberate about what is the kind of animation that you need. The next is motion graphics. So we saw the Altria video, that's very typical motion graphic video. You can also go for videos which have higher text or higher icons, and depending on what is your proportion, the cost of the video and the effort uh, in creating that video asset will be proportional to that. Motion graphic videos are great for educational videos, explainers, and even case studies. They're really good format. Kinetic typography is it's something that has been trending in the last 1 year, and it's going to be trending for the next 2-3 years. The way I see it, a lot of clients are asking for kinetic typography videos. They are like motion graphics, but what you do is you use text to engage, to create an engaging video format. So you add animation to text. I'll just quickly show you a typography animation video that we created for ICICI. Okay. Sorry. So as you can hear, the sound is really catchy. Frames are moving at a very fast speed, and all of that is done to to hold audience attention. I'll go back to the idea of engagement. So to engage the audience so that they don't leave it at any point. These type of videos are great for your your 15 seconders, your promos. They are also very good for creating topical videos, because this can be done in a really short turnaround time, and to make those offer discount announcements on Facebook or on other social media platforms. Again, if you increase the amount of graphics, accordingly the effort and time is increased. We talked about demos. They are of two kinds: animation, screen grab based. We have already spoken about that, so I'll quickly move to whiteboard animation. So whiteboard animation, again, they are, you will see those generic looking whiteboard videos, which is low on cost, low on effort, but they now clearly look cliched. I mean, I'm not a big fan of whiteboard videos anymore, but if you're looking to get something made, I would suggest that go with somebody who understands illustrations and can create interesting illustrations, because that is the whole soul of whiteboard videos. They are great for educational videos, and they are also good for employee engagement or creating those internal videos for your team and for your channel partners. Collage animation, this is a new video format, and I see it becoming more and more commonplace. I suggest do look at collage animation. Let me just quickly steal 10 seconds and show you a collage animation video that we did for Herbalife. It's a very, very interesting format, and something that will be fresh, surprising, as well as quirky. It has some kind of quirkiness to itself. I think it's taking some.
आज उसके वो वाली बहन के वो वाले कजिन की शादी है ना कल से पक्का। आज छोड़ो, कल जाएंगे। आज थोड़ा लेट हो गया था, कल फिर टाइम पे उठेंगे। अब कल कभी आता ही नहीं, हम क्या करें? सोचना भी तो एक एक्सरसाइज है। अरे हमने तो सुना है सोना भी एक एक्सरसाइज है। आज
That's collage animation for you. You use paper cuttings, basically anything, any kind of image, and you tell a story using images. That's what you do with collage animation, and you will see more and more of that happening, more and more of these kind of videos on your social media feeds in near future. Stock footage based videos. Now, I'm not sure if you are all images. Basically, these are the websites which have a lot of stock footage, so you do not have to go out and shoot new footage. You can piece it all together and create interesting videos. These stock footage based videos work really well if you're trying to create something in short
we are building
turnaround
the
time.
future of distribution
However,
network.
one should be aware that stock footages are not inexpensive. They are quite expensive, stock footages. But if you are really short on time, or if you want to spruce up your existing video, you can definitely look at stock footages to give your video that extra push and to increase its production value. So they are, I mean, stock footage videos are usually used whenever clients have come to us. They are usually used for, one of those event opener videos or those motivational videos. You're trying to motivate your team, or you can, like I said, you can spruce up your existing video asset using stock footages. Yeah, I'll come to that. So Sharad's asking, how do startups get videos created in cost-effective manner? I'll come to that, Sharad. Again, interview-based videos. So interviews are not used as much as I wished they should be used. But if you're interviewing your founders, internal experts, probably your product managers, you can get a lot of interesting video content. I'm a big fan of interview-based video content. They are great if you're trying to get case studies made or testimonials made, or those thought leadership videos. Again, works great as top of the funnel content. So if you are if you're looking for something to put on LinkedIn to get new leads, you should definitely consider interviewing your founders, interviewing your internal experts, and creating thought leadership in that particular niche. So again, startups should definitely look at interview based videos because they are cost effective, low turnaround time, and leverages that tacit knowledge and converts it into a video of great value. Again, the amount of time that you will spend on post production and on scripting, that will determine how cost effective or how effective that becomes. Because cost is a major question that generally comes up whenever I am speaking to any new client. Why does it cost so much or so little to create a video? So the answer is pretty simple. If you are looking for an original concept, if you're looking at highly detailed and smooth video, and if you're looking at creating videos with immediate deadlines, all of these factors will make your will make your cost more. It will increase your cost. I think I'll just cover that much. This already is a lot of information, but one last thing, and for anybody who would be, briefing people on briefing agencies, if you're briefing your production house, you should always be aware of two terms. One is animation, and one is live action. So animation are all your video formats which has characters and which has motion graphics, which has graphics icons in it. And live action is any videos which have real people in it. So something that we saw stock footage videos or interview based videos, these are all live action videos. So you need to be very deliberate whenever you are briefing someone, because that will have a cost implication. In summary, I think this is what I would summarize it with, that if you're looking to have a video strategy in place, the first step is to map your sales funnel. Have a video asset for each stage of your video of your sales funnel. Now I understand that it may not be feasible immediately. It may take some time. So in that case, prioritize your pitch video, prioritize your product video, and top of the funnel content, which is create educational videos or topical videos or your promo videos and that pitch video and that explainer. These give highest priority to these two. And finally, don't create that one super video that we spoke about earlier. Don't try and cramp everything in one single video, because that achieves nothing. So that's about it. I hope you guys had a good session post lunch, and now I'm ready to take questions.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yes, I think everybody did have a great session post lunch, eye-opening, quite literally. You've got a couple of questions here already. I'm going to read them out to you.
Right.
The first is on from Sharad on how to get videos created in a cost-effective manner.
Right.
And maybe one of the ways that you could possibly look to answer this is there are different costs to different types of videos, and one of the ways to maybe reduce the cost could simply be using certain types of videos over other types of videos. But I leave that to you. Over to you.
Yeah, Venkatesh, that's that is definitely the first thing that even I would have said, that you first determine what is the kind of video that you want to get made. Like I said earlier, if it's an educational video, you can definitely go for a cost-effective method. For example, if you are the founder yourself and you have a lot of tacit knowledge. For example, I have tacit knowledge about video production, video workflow, how does it work in different scenarios. I can convert that into video assets. I can get, I can use a phone and that's how we have, I have been producing videos. For example, let me just go back to the first slide. All of these videos that we have created for ourselves and we put it on LinkedIn, all of these videos were made on my iPhone SE using a gear which is not more than 4,000 rupees. And then because I have an in-house studio, we got these edited. You can hire a freelance editor for 5,000, 7,000 for a day's job, and that's all it takes, a day's job. However, if what you need to be very deliberate upon is what is this, who's going to watch this video, and if this video is going to, you want to impress people who watch this video, then you should go for higher production value. And if you're going for higher production value, you will need to spend that kind of money on it. I don't know if that answers your question. What I'll simply say is there are certain formats which are cost effective, and if you can go for them.
Rohit Taneja asks, what kind of video asset suits best for B2B educational institutes and B2C job seekers and college students, people situated in tier 2, 3, and 4?
So Rohit, what again? I would ask you, what stage of the funnel is that video for? Are you trying to attract people, or you are trying to convert these into paying customers? Because accordingly, so the question can be better put in this way: what kind of video assets will attract job seekers, attract people, right? So we looked at 3 video assets. We looked at let me just go back to that. So top of the funnel, if you want to attract people, if you want to attract new customers, you should do a lot of educational videos. So typically job seekers have a lot of questions, college students have a lot of questions. So you can research for topics, and there are a lot of websites for researching on topics. Pick up the top 5 8 topics and get a series made on that. That is what I would do. So instead of creating one video or two videos to attract people, get a series created and then promote this series on multiple channels. So the way it will work is you will have you will have a teaser video running on multiple channels. From there people will jump to this series can be hosted either on YouTube or on your website. They'll watch this entire series, they'll interact with your brand, and then they will start exploring your brand and your website and your whatever services you have.
Here's one on putting everything together. So is it possible, is it advisable that on a web page, all of these videos of every different stage of the funnel, should they be there? Or are you suggesting that the top of the funnel is really social media, so it need not be on my website, it needs to be on social media? But then the second stage and the third stage are what I should have on different pages or on my web page. They're asking how to integrate all of this video strategy on a web page.
So again, I won't suggest that you have all these video assets on a single web page. It's a pretty that even big brands do. They'll upload all the videos on YouTube, whatever be that kind, whatever type of video that is. Now that confuses your customer, and that you are not controlling the way they are going to navigate. The better thing to do is that you treat every video as a piece of content and put it strategically. So if you have a testimonial, you will put it right at the bottom of your landing page. If you have an explainer, you will put it right at the top because you want people to understand your product. If you have a lot of educational videos, you will create a separate section like your blog page, and or say create a TV section along with blog. And you see a lot of TV sections these days now, and put all your educational videos there. Ideally you should integrate your educational videos with your blog pages. So have your videos put at various places in the blog page, so they spend more time on each blog. But definitely don't put it all together, neither on YouTube nor on web page.
Got that. Okay. There is this entire issue, and this is possibly the last question we can go with, on the likability of content. How does one determine what works, what doesn't work? Is that part of what an expert or an agency helps us with? Because we are obviously inside the brand, what we like and what the customer may like. How do we get convergence on this? What's the best way of doing this?
Okay, so when we are creating any video, we don't have that perspective of whether they like it or not. The perspective that we have is that are they going to engage with it? Now engagement can be broken down technically. So the first 8 to 10 seconds should be something that will get them to watch it more. The next 30 seconds that I have now bought their attention for, I need to talk about something which will interest them, which is relevant to them, and it should be directly be relevant to them. Only when I've done that, then I get the opportunity to talk about myself. So you have to really give something away to buy their attention, and that's why the first 30-40 seconds is really about the customers. Now what I mean by that is that you look at the pain point. So for example, again, I'm not talking about likability, I'm talking about relevance. How relevant is that you're talking that you're talking to customer about? So for we saw the Altria video. They sell contract management system. Now we started that video not by talking about any legality or any such issues. We started by talking about how difficult it is to manage all the data, all the personal data that there is, and that directly hit at their pain point. So whenever you are going to talk about their pain point, it's going to be relevant to them, and hopefully they'll like it.
Last 30 seconds, what's the most optimum duration of a video?
Uh, there is really no Bible on video duration. However, if you're doing promos, you're running ads on social media, 15 to 30 seconders. Again, we have seen that 15 seconders work best. That is what is highest in demand. Uh, if you are creating educational videos, I would suggest 5 minutes tops, 3 to 5 minutes. If you're putting something on LinkedIn that is 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not more than that. But I mean, if you have something really solid, something valuable, and if you have a great script, you can actually go on till 7 to 10 minutes. So it's not about duration. Actually, it's about how long can you keep them engaged with your piece of content, which means that how continuously you are giving them new piece of information which catches their attention. So I'm just letting a little secret out. At Dialog Box, we have this 30-second, when we are scripting, we make sure that every 30 seconds we are delivering a punch. So you deliver a punch every 30 seconds, you are buying their attention for the next 30 seconds is what we do. But there's really, if you're creating product videos made and you want to explain your product, then not more than 2 minutes. Like I said, we have found a sweet spot at 90 seconds, because at 90th second we have again seen that people start dropping off. So there are typically two places when people drop off when they're watching explainers: at 15 second or 10 seconds when they decide that this video is not for me, and then after 70 seconds they start dropping off.
Perfect, Priyank. Appreciate that. Extremely punchy. Very, very nice, exhaustive look at videos. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate the approach that you took to the presentation. Thank you very much. To the audience, thanks again for joining us. We'll be back next Friday. We'll share the details soon. This webinar recording will also be shared in the next couple of days. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.